Today I'm showing you what to do with caraway seed in my garden. As you know, I have a big caraway plant, and once the white blossoms like here turn into the seeds, see it here, you have to harvest them. And what I do, I take them right at the crown here. I cut them, and then I put them in a box, which I show you, to cure for about 3 weeks. Hello and welcome to another cooking rodeo with the Tater Cowgirl. As I said in my garden introduction, we are working with caraway seed today. So first I want to show you what I did with the seeds I brought in from the garden. I let them cure for about 3 weeks in that box. With a stick I held it open, but it's dark and dry. And what I cut, let me show you that, is the crown. And I let it completely dry out. And then you can strip the seeds into a little funnel and into an airtight container, and can use them. And they are good for, I think, 4 years or so if they're in a airtight container. So 3 weeks they have to cure in there, so we don't use them today. I just wanted to show you how I use my garden caraway seed. What we make today is my beloved German No-Knead Rye Caraway Mixed Bread. It's not just rye flour, because rye flour has no gluten, and the bread would be very dense. So what we are doing is we mix it, and that's what you get in a German bakery is typically a Roggen Mischbrot, a rye mixed bread with other flours. And that's what I show you today. I show you a no-knead version, which is really easy. You don't need a bread machine. You don't need to knead forever. All you need is patience. Patience, because we have to proof our dough for quite a while. So let me get you down to my bowl, and then we get started. Okay, you see it? Alright, here we are. We need a bowl, of course. And then we need 2 cups of bread flour. Take half a cup for the measurement. It's easier when you take it out of the bucket here. Right, and now we need 1 cup of rye flour. This is what I use, rye flour. This is the bread flour I just put in. So 1 cup of rye flour. Then the other dry ingredients would be 2 tablespoons of caraway seeds. We have a half a teaspoon of instant yeast. It's also called bread machine yeast. You get it in little jars or in those Fleischmann packets, but it's not a whole packet. It's a half a teaspoon of the yeast. And 1.5 teaspoons salt, sea salt in my case. I use sea salt. Okay, so we have to mix the dry ingredients really well so that everything is evenly spread out. You don't want to have, the rye the rye flour on one side and the caraway seed on just one spot. So mix it really well. As long as it's dry, it's easy. Okay, that should look good now. By the way, if you translate in German, if you try to translate the German word for caraway seed into the US word, the English word, it gives you cumin. And when I moved here, it says, no, that's not what I need. That's not what I need. So I noticed that the Germans shortened the word Kümmel, which is cumin, and it's actually Kreuzkümmel, cross cumin, if I translate literally, which would be caraway seed. So yeah, I had to Google that for a while to find that out when I immigrated. So we don't need cumin, we need caraway seed. Okay, so now we add the liquid ingredients. As I do not use sugar, I use either date syrup or honey. This is my favorite honey, so I use it today. This is from Crater Lake, Marionberry honey. Really good. Let me get just a little spoon. Oh, yeah, here. This should work. So this is 2 tablespoons of honey that goes in there. Lose anything. Love my honey. Let me wash my hands really quick. And 12 ounces of room temperature, more on the cool side, but room temperature water. And we take the end of not the spoon, but the end to get our dough together. This is a good trick to get heavy dough together. I learned that from my grandma. She's not using the spoon. She used to have a restaurant in Germany, and she's not using the spoon, she's using the handle. How do you call it? Oh, oops. I splattered. Okay, so we put that together. And you see it's a really dry, heavy dough. And when we have it almost together, we use another ounce of water, pour it over it, and mix it. Start mixing it again. That's the only time you really have to mix that thing. But you want to make sure it's all mixed together. It's very important. Yeah, looks good so far. As I said, you need to use instant rice yeast, half a teaspoon, not more. It's necessary. So now the patience part starts, because we have to let it proof for 8 to 24 hours. The longer you let it proof, the better. So I let it proof until tomorrow, when I continue showing you how to make that bread, that rye caraway seed bread. Enough salt is in there. We put plastic wrap over it. Let's get another one over it. This one's not enough, so we just get another sheet over it to make sure it's sealed. That's all we do for now. Don't need to do anything else. And let it proof at room temperature in your kitchen. That's it. I probably put it in the oven, in the cold oven, just to have it out of the way. And tomorrow we continue making this bread. It's gonna be good, believe me. See you then. Hello everybody, I don't know what went wrong. I just screwed up a part of the video. The part where I came home, I took the dough, the dough proof 24 hours in this bowl, was double as high with a plastic on top of it, room temperature. I put it on a floured surface, no knead. I just folded it in with a Schlesinger, and then I put it in this Dutch oven I have, lined with parchment paper, a little bit flour on the bottom, and I let it proof again 1.5 hours. I showed you everything I did, but to some reason it did not record. I must have stopped the video somehow, and I apologize for that. But you can imagine what I did. I put it on the floured surface, I kneaded, folded it in a few times, then I formed the loaf, put it in the lined parchment Dutch oven, and here I let it proof 1.5 hours at room temperature, didn't touch it. So this is it. Until then, sorry, you have patience with me, I'm not a good videographer. And the dog barks. Thank you, Scruffy. Shut up, Scruffy. And I just came back from church. We had a good sermon today. It's about strategies against evil spirit. And this doesn't mean against people. It is the kind of spirit we all feel as newborn Christians surrounding us, the stuff we are not feeling good about it. For me, I was in such fear when I worked at the college and this mandate, and since I have I got the religious exemption, I stood up against it. And since then, all the fear is gone. I became a newborn Christian. I go to church, and I'm a believer in Jesus Christ. And the strategy is, it kind of reminds me of the shooter training we had at the college, where it says, first you run. The first strategy, you run. If you have an active shooter coming to campus, you run away from it as fast as you can. If this is not possible, you hide. And if this is not possible, you have to fight, you know. And they showed us how to take somebody's gun away if you are close enough. So this is not easy. Anyway, so this is what was my thoughts of in the sermon today. They said the first strategy is to flee. So stay away from stuff that's not good for you. Stay away from stuff that's affecting your health, your well-being, your spiritual health. For alcoholics, it's the alcohol, of course. For me, it's unhealthy food, like chocolate and buttery stuff. I always have these temptations. I'm just a human being, you know. And every day I fight against these temptations, but I have to run away too. I'm not putting myself into a situation where I get tempted, like, you know, going into the candy aisle when I go shopping, or going into a fast food restaurant with somebody and I know I will snack some fries, or, you know, it's not good for me, and it affects my health, so I have to stop doing that. Strategy 2 is following Jesus. In a religious version from the sermon today, it is, if you can't hide anymore, follow him in what you're doing. Do not get distracted by what you're focusing on. So it's not the politics, it's not the protest, it's not the anything, it's Jesus Christ. You should be focused on his word and follow that. And the strategy 3, the last strategy, is fight. So there's a point where you have to stand up for Jesus Christ and you have to do it. And that doesn't mean to be violent or something. It means to stay true to your beliefs. And I believe unborn life is life, and I have to protect it. So I'm not going to support abortions. In my case, I retired from college because they are big supporters of this pro-choice movement that you can kill unborn life, and I just can't represent that anymore. Also, I have a religious exemption against the vaccine. I was safe in my job, 21 years old, so I had enough seniority, but I didn't feel I want to be part of that anymore, so I retired. I retire from that. I don't want to be part of it. I want to show our youth there's a different way, you know. There are different possibilities. You don't have to kill your own baby. There are ways you get help. And I want to be part of that help too, by the way. And lead a life that avoids these kind of temptations. And that's what I wanted to tell you. That's my Sunday sermon. Sorry for that. I want to be strong for Jesus. Every day I try to live more like him and less like the sinner I was before. Even I'm still a sinner. I will always be a sinner. But Jesus took away, he died on the cross for us, so he took away I do not have to make up for it. That's how we believe. Jesus took that away. All we do is follow Jesus and become every day, try to become more like him instead of falling back in the old routine, you know, and doing stuff you are not supposed to do. And I will talk to you again in 1.5 hours when that bread has proved, and we put it in the oven, okay? Okay, everybody left horse riding, so maybe we can get the last part of the bread baking video done. And I apologize again for screwing up one of the middle parts where I show you how to fold the bread dough. Something went wrong, I don't know, I must have touched it when I adjusted the camera. But I think it works anyway, you know what to do. So, now we're at the part, I heated the oven 450 degrees Fahrenheit, and you have it heated, so don't start with the cold oven. And let me get you down here. Here's my little Dutch oven. So it proved again, and you see the sponginess. This is how you, so it's very, this is how you recognize active yeast dough. It's spongy, it went well. So what we do now is, let Let me adjust the picture a little bit because you want to see that. What we do now is we make slits in it to make it bake better. I usually do the one in the middle first, then one here, one here. Some do it with scissors. See that? So I can see that this might be easier, but I have my Schlesinger and do it like that. It's really sharp, so it should be okay. Let's try the dough again. Good. Okay, and this is what we put in the oven now. 450 degrees for about 25 minutes. And then with the lid on, oh, almost forgot to tell you. And then after 25 minutes we will have it in there for about 3 minutes without lid to have the crust nice and brown. So this is what we do. Put it in. The timer. Okay. And I just want to tell you that I just had a discussion with Eddie about what we heard in the sermon today, which I will link to underneath the description because I talked about it. I'm not a good pastor or something, you know. He can explain it better what I was talking about in the last part of the video. But Eddie said, well, how is that working? Should we talk to others, you know, who attack us for being Christians? I said, Jesus loved everybody. Jesus did not attack anybody. We are followers in Jesus' footsteps as newborn Christians. So we are supposed to live to the golden rule. Don't do to others what you don't want to be done to yourself. So we are supposed to love everybody. Everybody of us are sinners. There is not one human being who is not a sinner. But Jesus died, was crucified, and he took the sins away. So what we are supposed to do is every day become a better person, following into Jesus' footsteps. And what helps us is read the scripture and talk to other new Christians and exchange each other. But that doesn't mean I have to hate somebody who believes in something different than I am. It means to love this person, but it also means that I am don't have to deny what I believe in order to please others, like my employer, or to have an easier career or something. I have found strength when and I was so afraid, you know, when this whole mandate stuff started and you can't go to work without vaccination. I don't believe in this vaccination that's based on feline cell lines. I just don't believe it. I don't want to be part of that. It's against my conscience. And once I formulated that and asked for a religious exemption and I got it granted, all this fear went away from me. So at some point you have to stand up for your beliefs and go get straight with whoever it is, human resources, and say, I am a newborn Christian. That's what I believe in, and I ask you to grant me this religious exemption. And they did. And my fear went away. It was in my head. The fear was in my head. And when you deny, it's fear. Fear rules you, and you can't be ruled by fear or controlled by fear. This is the evil spirits that tell you you're not worth it, you can't do this, you know. That's what I mean with fighting against the evil spirits. Not against a certain person. You are supposed to love everybody. And I try to explain it. I hope I'm not too bad about it. But that's what I try to explain. And I wish you all a wonderful Sunday. And I will show you how the bread looks like in 25 minutes. It's my patience was tested 2 days, and I'm not a patient person. That's one thing I have to work on. I'm not a patient person. I like to have everything fast, schnell, schnell. But baking and cooking, you need a lot of patience, just like in real life. And see you once the bread is done, and I will show you. Bye. So we are back. It's I left it in a little bit longer. I left it in 30 minutes before I put the lid off, and left it in another 3 minutes to get the crust nice and crusty. Oven is, it's time to get the bread out and look at it, okay? Hold on, I'll show you. Okay. Oh yeah, it smells good. Unfortunately, we don't have smell-o-vision, so I can let me first do this. So what I do is, with a wood pick, I go in the little slits. Yeah, it's through, it's dry. There's nothing coming out that seems to be fishy. The crust is springy and crusty. Look at this wonderful bread. So what we do now is, let me get another see that? See the slits, how it goes open, and that's, I mean, some people are doing really artistic things like little leaves. I just make 3 slits, but you need to do this in the bread to let it really bake correctly. And now what we do, we just hold it on the parchment and take it out, you know. So this is the good part of the parchment thing. And in real life, please let it cool now a little bit, so you don't want to cut it before it's really cool. And you see that this artisan, the flour gives you that artisan look a little bit, you know. So it's a really nice bread. Let me get a knife, and now I'm doing something you're not supposed to do. Cut it while it is fresh out of the oven, but of course we want to see how it looks inside. It's tough. That's why I do this no and cut it right now. Barely touch it, but it's so fresh out of the oven. Let me get maybe this one. Okay. The crust is nice, just like you want it. Look at this bread. Springy inside and crunchy outside. Let me try it. I have to be careful because it's really hot, so this is not what you should do. Please let it cool a little bit. Hear how crunchy it is? It's perfect. The caraway seed, the salt. It's good. It's whole plant-based bread. No sugar in it. I use honey and no oil in it. It's water, yeast, flour and salt. And it's a mixture of rye and bread flour, wheat bread flour, whole plant-based, but that's German rye bread. That's how it tastes. And if you only take rye flour, it's without gluten, so it gets too dense. This is perfect, perfect. Look at this, how springy it is inside and how crusty the outside is. It's good. Yay me, I made it. So again, I wish you a good Sunday, a wonderful week until we meet again for another cooking show with the Tater Cowgirl. And like I say in California, Peace out.